Hello.
Hey AJ, what you doing?
Hey. Oh, not much. Just working on a blog post actually. I'm gonna write like a little blog article about our teaching method.
What are you writing exactly?
I just kind of want to, I don't know, I want to cover a few things. I think the main idea is to get across the, like Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis, his, all his research about uh, the fact that that people learn languages best through input, meaning lots and lots of listening, lots and lots of reading, much more effectively than trying to make them practice speaking or practice writing.
Right.
And that's kind of the biggest, I think, the biggest principle. It's sort of the foundation of our teaching method is that research, because most schools have the opposite idea, and most books really, even though they don't necessarily state it, they I think most of them have this assumption that uh, that practicing speech and practicing writing and then correcting errors, that's supposed to be the best way to teach or learn. That's what most students think. That's what most teachers think. And of course, it's completely wrong. The research shows that it's totally wrong.
Right. Yeah, it was really great learning the this technique in general or methodology, I guess I should say, during our master's program. And then not only learning about it, but getting to experience it when we were living in Bangkok and going to AUA, their whole listen first approach.
Yeah, right. Which, and of course, the Dr. Brown started that program because of Krashen's research, and it was
Right.
really interesting. I agree. Just, that idea of just listening for a whole year without attempting to speak at all. And they're really hardcore.
Yeah.
They're like, no speaking for 1 year.
Yep.
Um, like other people, like the TPRS, the TPR storytelling, they're not so tough about, no speaking, but they still emphasize listening and input, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in all honesty, when I'd been teaching before starting the master's program, I just felt like my methods were all over the place. So I don't know, it was like a breath of fresh air to start the master's and be able to start piecing together methodologies and techniques that really seemed to click with me, and I thought it just made sense. Just
Oh, oh yeah, I was the same before learning about this research before doing the master's program. My methods were totally like scattershot. I would just pick something from this book, pick something from this book. Oh, the school says to use this textbook. Okay. But not really with any research or any reason. Just it's just and that's what most teachers do, I think. Most schools,
right.
most textbooks, they just throw together a bunch of stuff
Yep.
and this looks good, but they don't know if any research whether it actually works or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm embarrassed. I think back about my classes in the past, and I realize, man, the students didn't learn very much. I was giving them all that grammar and the grammar rules and the vocabulary list, just all the typical stuff. And I feel terrible because now I realize they didn't learn very much. And I knew at the time, even I knew then that, wow, this just isn't working very well. They're learning so slowly.
Yep. I know. I totally agree. And that's why too, Joe and I now doing our lessons, why we're taking a listen first approach by these conversations.
Yeah, yeah, and then using the listen and answer storytelling method, which is so powerful. I mean, when I started using that, and some of the other methods, that we use that go along with this research. I mean, just to see the results with so many of the students and how much faster they learn, how much more fun they have, how their speaking
Mm-hmm.
improves. It was like, wow, it was just amazing. It was so motivating for me as a teacher. I'm sure for you too.
Yes.
'Cause it's like, oh my God, it actually works.
Yep.
This is great.
Yeah. And obviously, just kind of a no-brainer to continue on that path.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And it makes me wonder too why, yeah, other teachers in schools just, keep doing the same crap, you know,
I know.
forever. At every school I've ever taught at, every one I've ever seen, every textbook I've ever looked at, same crap.
Yep.
It's just amazing. It's kind of sad, actually. But hey, we got something better, so that's good.
Right. Well, hey, I gotta get going here. I just wanted to call and see what you're up to. Do
Sure.
you want me to give you a call back in just a few minutes, or?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Yeah, I've got time. I'm
Okay.
free.
All right.
Cool.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss, and we just wanted to let you know that this material is copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com.
Hello, welcome to the mini story for Teaching 1. This is A.J. Hogue again, director of the Effortless English Club. Let's get started. Jimmy the fish had a problem. He stank. He smelled really bad. Stank means smell bad. It's past tense. So stink is present. Stank is past. So Jimmy the fish stank. Who stank? Jimmy. Jimmy the fish stank. Did Jimmy the fish smell good? No. Poor Jimmy. Jimmy the fish didn't smell good. Jimmy the fish stank. Why did Jimmy the fish stink? Well, because Jimmy was a fish, of course. All fish stink. So, of course, Jimmy the fish stank. Did Jimmy have a problem? Yes, he had a problem. He stank. Who had a problem? Jimmy. What was Jimmy? A fish. Jimmy was a fish. What did he do? Well, Jimmy stank. Jimmy the fish stank. Did he smell good or did he smell bad? Well, Jimmy the fish smelled bad. How bad did Jimmy smell? Oh, he smelled terrible. He stank. None of the women fish liked him. Why didn't the women fish like Jimmy? Well, because he stank. The women fish didn't like Jimmy because he stank. He stank a lot. Did Jimmy stink more than other fish? Or did Jimmy stink less than other fish? More. Jimmy stank much more than other fish. It was a problem. So, Jimmy tried everything to solve the problem. Did Jimmy try to solve the problem? Of course he did. Jimmy tried to solve this problem. He tried many things. He tried everything to solve this problem. He took a bath 18 times a day. What did he take 18 times a day? A bath. He took a bath 18 times a day. Who took a bath 18 times a day? Jimmy. Jimmy the what? Jimmy the fish. Jimmy the fish took a bath 18 times a day. Why did Jimmy take a bath 18 times a day? Because he stank. Because he stank, he took a bath 18 times a day. He also brushed his teeth 50 times a day. 50. Did he brush his teeth 20 times a day? No. Did he brush his teeth 30 times a day? No. How many times did he brush his teeth? 50. He brushed his teeth 50 times a day. Who? Who brushed his teeth 50 times a day? Jimmy. Jimmy the fish brushed his teeth 50 times a day. In fact, he was hardcore about cleanliness. Was he super serious about cleanliness? Oh, yeah. He was hardcore about cleanliness. Was he super strict about cleanliness? Oh, yeah. Jimmy the fish was hardcore about cleanliness. Who was hardcore about cleanliness? Jimmy. Jimmy the fish. Why was Jimmy hardcore about cleanliness? Because he stank, and he didn't want to stink. Was he hardcore about eating healthy? No. He wasn't hardcore about health. What was he hardcore about? Cleanliness. He was hardcore about cleanliness. What was he about cleanliness? Hardcore. He was hardcore about cleanliness. Jimmy the fish was hardcore about cleanliness, but he still stank. Even though he was hardcore about cleanliness, he still stank. Oh no, poor Jimmy. Poor Jimmy. So, Jimmy went to a doctor in Crawford, Texas, for help. Where did Jimmy go? He went to Crawford, Texas. Why did Jimmy go to Crawford, Texas? He went to Crawford, Texas to see a doctor. Why did he go to see a doctor? For help with his problem. Okay, Jimmy said, "Doctor, I've tried everything. I pieced together a hardcore cleanliness plan. I bathe 18 times a day, and I brush my teeth 50 times a day." What did Jimmy piece together? Well, he pieced together a cleanliness plan. Did he put together a cleanliness plan? Yes, he did. He pieced together a cleanliness plan. Did he create a cleanliness plan? Yes, he did. He pieced together a cleanliness plan. Who pieced together a cleanliness plan? The doctor? No. Jimmy the fish. Jimmy the fish pieced together a cleanliness plan. He pieced together what? A cleanliness plan. He pieced together a cleanliness plan. A hardcore cleanliness plan. The doctor said, "I know the answer. It's a no-brainer. Just rub olive oil on your skin every day. Then you will smell better." So the doctor said, "I know the answer. It's a no-brainer." Was the answer obvious to the doctor? Yes, it was a no-brainer. It was very obvious. Was the answer clear to the doctor? Oh, yes, it was a no-brainer. It was very clear. Who was it a no-brainer for? For the doctor. The answer was a no-brainer for the doctor. The answer was obvious for the doctor, or to the doctor. He said, I know the answer. It's a no-brainer. It's an obvious answer. It's a clear answer, a clear solution. Just rub olive oil on your skin every day. Then you will smell better. Well, Jimmy did exactly what the doctor said. Every day, he rubbed olive oil on his body. But he still stank. Did Jimmy smell better? No. He didn't smell better. He still stank. Who still stank? Jimmy the fish still stank. Did the olive oil help Jimmy? No. The olive oil didn't help Jimmy. He still stank. So next, Jimmy went to a doctor in San Francisco. Jimmy said, Doctor, I've tried everything, but nothing seems to click. Nothing works. Do any solutions click for Jimmy? No solutions click for Jimmy. Do any solutions fit Jimmy? No, they don't click. None of the solutions click for Jimmy or click with Jimmy. None of them work. None of them fit. None of the solutions click for Jimmy. Nothing seems to click, he says. What didn't click for Jimmy? Well, the solutions, past solutions, just didn't click for Jimmy. Well, the San Francisco doctor says. He said, your past solutions were all over the place. Your actions were scattershot. You need a better plan. Were Jimmy's past solutions all over the place? Or were they organized? They were all over the place. They were not organized. His past solutions were all over the place. Whose past solutions were all over the place? Jimmy's. Jimmy the Fish's past solutions were all over the place. They were unorganized. Were his past solutions good? Organized? Or were his past solutions all over the place? They were all over the place. They were unorganized. And the doctor said, your actions were scattershot. You need a better plan. Were his actions organized? No, they weren't. They were scattershot. They were also all over the place. Remember, scattershot and all over the place. Very similar. Okay, so his past actions were scattershot. What were scattershot? What was scattershot? His past actions. His past actions were scattershot, unorganized. Whose past actions were scattershot. Jimmy the Fish's past actions were scattershot, not organized. Oh no! The doctor said, "You need a better plan." Then the doctor said, "You must eat 600 green vegetables every day. Do that, and you will smell great. It will be like a breath of fresh air for you and for everyone else." Aha! What would be like a breath of fresh air? Well, this solution would be like a breath of fresh air. This solution would refresh Jimmy. This solution would refresh all his friends. This solution would refresh everyone he knew. This solution would be like a breath of fresh air. What solution would be like a breath of fresh air? Well, this solution of eating 600 green vegetables. Eating 600 green vegetables would be like a breath of fresh air for Jimmy. How many green vegetables? 600. 600 green vegetables. The doctor said, "You must eat 600 green vegetables every day. Then you will smell great. And that will be like a breath of fresh air. That will change your life. That will refresh you. It will refresh your life." Well, Jimmy was excited. He followed the San Francisco doctor's advice. He ate 600 green vegetables a day. And it worked! After 4 days, Jimmy was much better. He smelled good. And all the women fish loved him. Did Jimmy follow the San Francisco doctor's advice? Yes, he did. He followed the San Francisco doctor's advice. He did what the doctor told him to do. Whose advice did Jimmy follow? Well, Jimmy the Fish followed the San Francisco doctor's advice. What did Jimmy do? He followed the San Francisco doctor's advice. So what exactly did he do? He ate 600 green vegetables a day. Did he eat 570 green vegetables every day? No, obviously not. How many did he eat every day? 600. He ate 600 green vegetables every day. What kind of vegetables did he eat every day? Red vegetables? No. No. Green. He ate green vegetables every day. Who followed the doctor's advice? Jimmy the Fish. Who ate 600 green vegetables a day? Jimmy the Fish. After 4 days, Jimmy was much better. After how long? After 3 days, Jimmy was better? No. After how long? 4 days. After 4 days, Jimmy was much better. He smelled good. And all the women fish loved him. Okay, that is the end of the mini story for Teaching 1. Please listen to this every day for 7 days. Every day for 1 week. This is very, very important. You need to learn deeply. If it's difficult, you can listen for 10 days. You can listen for 14 days every day. If it's easy, still listen for 7 days. You need it to go deeply into your brain. Please learn deeply. Okay, I will see you next time. This is AJ Hogue. Goodbye.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com.
Hello, this is AJ. Welcome to the Point of View lesson for Teacher 1. Let's begin. This is happening now. Jimmy the fish has a problem. He stinks. He smells really bad. None of the women fish like him. So, Jimmy tries everything to solve the problem. He takes a bath 18 times a day. He brushes his teeth 50 times a day. In fact, he is hardcore about cleanliness. But it doesn't work. So, Jimmy goes to a doctor in Crawford, Texas for help. Jimmy says, "Doctor, I've tried everything. I've pieced together a hardcore cleanliness plan. I bathe 18 times a day and I brush my teeth 50 times a day." The doctor says, "I know the answer. It's a no-brainer. Just rub olive oil on your skin every day. Then you will smell better." Well, Jimmy does exactly what the doctor says. Every day, he rubs olive oil on his body, but he still stinks. So next, Jimmy goes to a doctor in San Francisco. Jimmy says, "Doctor, I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. Nothing works." Well, the San Francisco doctor says, "Your past solutions were all over the place. Your actions were scattershot. You need a better plan." Then the doctor says, "You must eat 600 green vegetables every day. Do that and you will smell great. It will be like a breath of fresh air for you and for everyone else." Well, Jimmy is excited. He follows the San Francisco doctor's advice. He eats 600 green vegetables a day and it works. After 4 days, Jimmy is much better. He smells good and all the women fish love him. Okay, our next version of the story, we go to the future, so next year. Next year, there will be a fish named Jimmy, and he's gonna have a problem. He'll stink. He'll smell really bad, and none of the women fish are gonna like him. Jimmy's gonna try everything to solve the problem. He'll take a bath 18 times a day. He'll brush his teeth 50 times a day. In fact, he'll be hardcore about cleanliness. But it won't work. So, he's going to go to a doctor in Crawford, Texas for help. Jimmy's going to say, "Doctor, I have tried everything. I've pieced together a hardcore cleanliness plan. I bathe 18 times a day and I brush my teeth 50 times a day." The doctor's gonna say, "I know the answer. It's a no-brainer. Just rub olive oil on your skin every day. Then you will smell better." Well, Jimmy will do exactly what the doctor says. Every day, he's going to rub olive oil on his body, but he's still going to stink. So next, Jimmy's going to go to a doctor in San Francisco. He'll say, "Doctor, I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. Nothing works. Nothing seems to click." Well, the San Francisco doctor is going to say, "Your past solutions were all over the place. Your actions were scattershot. You need a better plan." Then the doctor's going to say, "You must eat 600 green vegetables every day. Do that and you will smell great. It will be like a breath of fresh air for you and for everyone else." Well, Jimmy's going to be excited. He'll follow the San Francisco doctor's advice. He'll eat 600 green vegetables a day and it's going to work. After 4 days, Jimmy's going to be much better. He'll smell good, and all the women fish are going to love him. All right, and finally, our last version. Since he was a baby, Jimmy has had a problem. Jimmy the fish has stunk. He has smelled really bad. None of the women fish have liked him since he was a baby, until now. And during this time, he has tried everything to solve the problem. He has taken baths 18 times a day. He has brushed his teeth 50 times a day, every day, since he was a baby fish. In fact, he has been hardcore about cleanliness since he was a baby. But nothing has worked. Well, finally, one day, Jimmy went to a doctor in Crawford, Texas for help. Jimmy said, "Doctor, I've tried everything. I've pieced together a hardcore cleanliness plan. I've bathed 18 times a day. I have brushed my teeth 50 times a day." The doctor said, "I know the answer. It's a no-brainer. Just rub olive oil on your skin every day, then you will smell better." Well, Jimmy did exactly what the doctor said. Every day he rubbed olive oil on his body, but he still stank. So next, Jimmy went to a doctor in San Francisco. Jimmy said, "Doctor, I've tried everything, but nothing seems to work. Nothing works." Well, the San Francisco doctor said, "Your past solutions were all over the place. Your actions were scattershot. You need a better plan." Then the doctor said, "You must eat 600 green vegetables every day. Do that and you will smell great. It will be like a breath of fresh air for you and for everyone else." Well, Jimmy was excited. He followed the San Francisco doctor's advice. He ate 600 green vegetables a day, and it worked. After 4 days, Jimmy was much better. He smelled good, and all the women fish loved him. And that is the end of our point of view stories for Teacher 1. See you next time.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2009 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com.
Hello, this is AJ Hogue. I am the director of Effortless English, and I am doing this week's lesson. This conversation was a conversation between Kristen and I about language teaching. We talked about some of our language teaching experiences in the past, and also now, and some of our ideas about language teaching and language learning. So let's get started on the vocabulary lesson. Here we go. At the beginning, I say hello, and Kristen says, "Hey AJ, what you doing?" What you doing means what are you doing? What are you doing? But in normal speech, fast speech, we often say, "What you doing?" What you doing? This means, what are you doing? And I say, "Oh, not much." Right? I'm not doing much. Or you could say, "Nothing." Or "Nothing much." Or if you're busy, you could say, "Well, actually, I'm very busy." So it's a common greeting. What you doing? What are you doing? All right, and I say, "Oh, not much. I'm just working on a blog post." Of course, a blog is a personal website. I was writing an article for my personal website. And I was writing an article about our teaching method, about the Effortless English system. I write a lot of articles about that. Okay, and then Kristen says, "What are you writing exactly?" So she's curious. She wants to know. And I say, I just kind of want to, I don't know, I want to cover a few things. Okay, of course, no meaning at all. It's a filler. It's just, we say when we're thinking about something, usually. And wanna means want to, right? I just kind of want to, or I kind of wanna. I want to cover a few things. Okay, here to cover means to talk about or to discuss. So I want to discuss a few things. I want to mention a few things. I want to cover a few things. So it kind of means talk about or discuss, something like that. And I say the main idea to get across. Here, to get across, to get something across. In this situation, it means to communicate. Like I say, I want to get my idea across. Or I want to get across my idea. That means I want to communicate my idea. So to get across sometimes means to communicate. So I want to get across, I want to communicate information about Stephen Krashen's input hypothesis. Stephen Krashen is a very famous expert in language teaching, language learning research. Dr. Stephen Krashen. He's probably the top expert, the number one expert in the world on the topic of language learning and language teaching. So I want to talk about his input hypothesis. Input means coming in, information coming in. For example, listening and reading. Listening and reading are input, right? The English is coming in. Speaking and writing are output, right? The English is going out of you. And hypothesis is a theory. Theory or an idea, a scientific idea, scientific theory. So he has an input hypothesis, an input theory. And it means his theory is that language is best learned from input, lots of listening, lots of reading. You do not learn languages from output. You don't learn a language by speaking it, and you don't learn a language by writing it. You learn from listening and reading. That's his theory, his hypothesis. There's a lot of research about it. It's actually much stronger than a hypothesis now. Probably more of a principle or a rule. So anyway, that's the idea I wanted to talk about in my article. I'm telling Kristen about this. And Kristen says, right. And then I say, that's the biggest principle. Biggest principle is input. Listening and reading are the most important activities. That's the foundation of our teaching method. It's the foundation of the effortless English system. The foundation means the central idea, or the most important point, or the core. Right? It's what's at the bottom. The foundation is something that's at the bottom. And then you build on top of a foundation. So at the bottom of our teaching method is the input idea. Right? That's the most basic idea, that input is important. And then we have more techniques and more methods, but that's the basic one, the most important one. Okay, and then I continue talking, and I say, I think most schools, most teachers of English have an assumption. Their assumption is that speech and writing and error correction are effective ways to teach. That's an assumption. An assumption is a belief. It's a belief with no evidence. It's a belief with no experience. So you believe something, but you have no reason to believe it. That's an assumption. It's kind of like a unsupported belief. A belief with no support. A belief with no reason or evidence. So most schools have this assumption, this belief that you must correct students' errors, and you must make them speak a lot, and you must make them write, and you must make them study grammar. These are assumptions. There's no support for these. These, in fact, are wrong beliefs. Okay, and then Kristen, she talks about our teaching experience in the past. She says, yeah, it was a great learning experience when we were getting our master's degree, when we were learning and living in Bangkok, Thailand, and going to AUA and learning with their listen-first approach. So, Kristen and I lived in Bangkok, Thailand, and we were doing research there. We were studying there, getting master's degrees there in teaching English, part of our research. And we did research at a school called AUA. So AUA is the name of a language school in Bangkok, Thailand. They teach the Thai language. And AUA uses a listen-first method. It means the students only listen to Thai for 1 year, actually, 1 year. They only listen. They don't speak Thai at all. No speaking. They have a very tough rule, strict rule. No speaking Thai for 1 year. So it's a listen-only approach, in fact. And then I say, yeah, of course, Dr. Brown started that program because of Krashen's research. So Dr. J. Marvin Brown, J. Marvin Brown was his name. He started the famous AUA program because of Dr. Krashen's research. And I say, they don't let you speak at all. The idea of just listening for a whole year without attempting to speak at all. No speaking for 1 year. And then I say, they're really hardcore. AUA is really hardcore. Hardcore means super strict, super tough about an idea, or super tough about a rule. So, for example, there's this idea, listen first. It's an idea. You should first listen a lot to English or to a language. Well, AUA is hardcore about listen first. They say listen only. They are very, very tough about this idea. No speaking, never speaking for 1 entire year. That's hardcore. It's very, very tough about this rule. Okay, then Kristen says, yep. Yep means yes, or yeah. And then the next paragraph, I talk about another method called TPRS, or TPR storytelling. This is another interesting teaching method, using stories to teach language. We use a lot of this method in our mini-stories, for example. Our mini-stories use the TPRS technique. And in the next paragraph, Kristen talks. She says, yeah, in all honesty, means truthfully, when I had been teaching before the master's degree program, I felt like my methods were all over the place. Kristen's talking about her past. So when she first started teaching English, her methods were all over the place in the beginning. All over the place means there was no plan. Means lots of different kinds of things. She would teach some grammar. She would teach some textbooks. She would teach some speaking, some writing. Lots of different kinds of things, all very different. So she said, my methods were all over the place. Means my methods were all very different and unorganized. Right? Her methods were very different and unorganized. No plan, no structure. Right? All over the place means no structure. Had no structure. She said, but then when she learned these new methods during her master's degree program, it was like a breath of fresh air. That's a great idiom. Like a breath of fresh air means refreshing. Refreshing. Right? It means, it gives you energy. It gives you some new, wonderful feeling. So, for example, I say, I was tired, then I drank some water. It was like a breath of fresh air. Right? It means the water was very refreshing. The water gave me energy. So something is like a breath of fresh air if it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel refreshed. Okay, then she says, so the new methods were like a breath of fresh air. The new methods gave her energy. The new methods made her feel good. And then she said, I was able to start piecing together methodologies and techniques. To piece together something means put together. So, after her master's degree, she understood. She knew how to teach. So then she could choose good methods. She could put good methods together. So she used one technique and then another good technique, put them together in an organized plan for teaching. She pieced them together. So piece together means put together. She said, the new techniques really seemed to click with me. The techniques clicked with me. To click with me means to fit me. So to be appropriate for me. To fit me. To be good for me. Right? So you can say, wow, he really clicks with me. Talking about another person. He clicks with me. It means we understand each other. We fit each other well. You can use it negatively. She doesn't click with me. Right? It means she doesn't fit with me. Maybe we argue a lot. Maybe we don't understand each other. Right? We don't fit each other. So to click with means to fit together well. Okay, then in the next paragraph, I agree. I said, I was the same in the beginning, a long time ago. My methods were scattershot. Scattershot. Scattershot is similar to all over the place. They're very close. Scattershot means totally unorganized. Scattershot means without structure. So my methods in the beginning also not organized, no structure. Okay, Kristen says right. And then I say schools and most textbooks just throw together a bunch of stuff. Okay, again, to throw together means to put together. So most textbooks put together a lot of different activities, but they're not really organized. There's no reason. It's kind of random, right? They just put them together. Some grammar, some listening, some reading. There's no real plan that's very good. Okay, and then we talk. Person says, yeah. And I'm saying, these teachers, these schools, they think this looks good, so they add it to their school or add it to their book. But there's no research. No research supports what they do. There's no research to show that it's effective. There's no research to show it is successful. They're just doing it, but there's no research to support it. And I say, now I'm embarrassed to think about the past. I think about my early teaching, my first year, my second year. I was really bad because I was the same as these other teachers. I was the same as these other schools. And Kristen says, yes, I agree. But now we're taking a listen first approach with these new lessons, and she's happy about that. And I agree again. Yeah. And then using the listen and answer storytelling method is very powerful, which it is. So I agree again. We're excited about our teaching method because it works, because there's a lot of research to support it. And then Kristen says, And I said, it was amazing. It was motivating for me to see my students improve. So using the new methods, I was very excited, very motivated. And Kristen says, yep, that's great. And she says, and obviously it's kind of a no-brainer to continue on that path. So she says, it's a no-brainer to continue using the effortless English methods. A no-brainer is something that is obvious, right? It means you don't need to think about it. You don't need to use your brain. It's so obvious, so simple, you don't need to think. So it's a no-brainer to use this method means it's so simple and obvious why we should use this method. So a no-brainer, something that is very, very obvious. All right, and then we're kind of continuing down a couple more paragraphs. I say, it's amazing. Kristen says, right. Well, I gotta get going. I just wanted to call and see what you were up to. Okay, I gotta get going means I need to leave. Okay, I gotta get going means I must leave. And then she said, I just wanted to call and see what you were up to. Okay, what you were up to means what you were doing. To be up to something means to do something. Right? So to be up to means to do. Okay, and then we say goodbye, okay, bye. And that is the end of the vocabulary lesson. See you for the mini story.
Hi, this is Kristen Dodds.
And this is Joe Weiss. And we just wanted to let you know that this material has been copyrighted in the year 2008 by Learn Real English, LLC. www.learnrealenglish.com